Welcome to the Retail Wrap, where I am going to talk about anything that involves retail, from trucks to supermarkets to other retail outlets. We're hoping to put this together at least once a month, but we will be aiming to do more. If it gets liked and shared more often, we'll just do more of them, simple as that. So we might start off with today's first story, which is going to be a little bit different. Blockchain. Blockchain is a digital food ledger that allows every part of the supply chain to be documented. So this could be from a grower that's out in the farm, it could be a certain section that's on the farm, when the product was picked, when it was packed, what truck it came on, what distribution centre it went into, to even where the store has got that product going into. People think that blockchain will be very useful in the food chain for transparency, and that is exactly what we think. We'll be able to use blockchain so a whole food process is transparent to anyone that wants to have a look at it. It does have its advantages. If there's ever a food recall, you'll be able to nail the region in seconds of where that product has came from. Compared to these days when the recall comes through, it does take a little bit of time to get the information back out from the distributor, from the grower to the warehouse, and then on to the actual stores where the products are, and then on to getting the customers to get their products out so we can make sure it's safe. We want to make sure that we're using blockchain for the right reasons. There's no doubt that there is going to be blockchain in the future, and the first one to get on board is going to get the benefit of that, not only for the consumers, but also for the retailers. In breaking news, South Australian scientists have come up with a way of using lentils to make loaves of bread. I was recently reading in the Financial Review that the new Coles MD, Stephen Kane, has come out and saying that they're going to put a lid on pricing. So I actually thought, what does this actually mean? So I read the article, and basically it's Coles telling us that they're going to make sure that no one else is going to increase their prices, and they're going to make sure that they're not either. They have whole teams looking at pricing, so Mr. Kane said. I don't think Coles should be the barometer for telling us how we treat suppliers. Let's go back to 2014 when the ACCC pulled Coles up for unconscionable conduct, and it's a breach of the Australian consumer law. Well, Coles did deny this, but they were later found guilty and fined with a $10 million fine. In her judgment, Justice Gordon said Coles' misconduct was serious, deliberate and repeated. Coles misuses its bargaining power. Its conduct was not done in good conscience. It was contrary to conscience as Coles treated its suppliers in a manner not consistent with acceptable business and social standards which apply to the commercial dealings. Coles demanded payments by suppliers which it was not entitled to by threatening harm to the suppliers that did not comply with the demand. And Coles withheld money from its suppliers it had no right to withhold. I like the way you think, Stephen, but do we really think we're going to listen to Coles about how you treat suppliers? There's no doubt that for everyone to win in this modern day of doing business, everyone needs to win along the supply chain. The supplier relationship with the retailer has to be stronger than ever before, and the retailers, suppliers, distributors, warehouses, manufacturers all need to be joined together to make sure that this is the new way of doing retail moving forward. One of the other stories I want to talk about today is Imperfect Fruit. Woolworths calls it the Odd Bunch. Harris Farms calls it the Imperfect Pick. These are products that might not necessarily make it as an A-grade looking product, but they definitely taste A-grade, so we still need them on the shelves. And I had a chance to go out and have a look at what Drake's are doing in regards to blemished fruit and veg. I'm JP Drake from Drake's, and I'm here with Tim Cartwright, National Fresh Supervisor, and we're going to talk a little bit about food waste. And there's some staggering statistics that Tim has been telling me about, and Tim, I don't know if it's true, but they say 25% of what the average Australian takes home in produce ends up in landfill.
Correct. It works out about $8 billion of food actually gets thrown into the bin each year per annum in Australia. What people don't actually know is 25% potentially of what gets grown actually never makes it to the consumer in the first place. And that is another big contributor of food waste.
So what are Drake's doing about that to help?
The reason it doesn't make it to the customer is because of imperfections, blemishes on the product. So what we've done here is we've said, right, no, we're going to sell product that doesn't meet our supermarket spec, but we're going to sell it to customers because guess what? The food quality, the eating quality is identical.
So it's A-grade taste?
A-grade taste.
But just doesn't quite meet the spec. So what is something that doesn't quite meet the spec?
Okay, look, standing right here, we've got bins of product. And yep, like you've just said here, we had some hail damage which happened up in the Adelaide Hills. And normally, any product that comes through that has any imperfections like this here would go across straight through to juice. Would not even make it to the customer to be eaten. But what we've done is said, no, we're going to sell this to the customer at a very much reduced price. These apples here are $1.99 a kilo. Normally they would retail around $5.99 a kilo. So a lot cheaper. Taste is identical, the look is not.
Tim, this looks perfectly fine to me. And
See? Flavour's fantastic.
tastes great. What's something else, Tim?
Okay, so another thing we do, we have a certain size spec that our customers want. There needs to be a certain size. So what we've decided here is said, no, we'll actually sell a variety of sizes, whatever we can get our hands on. And here's a prime example here, peaches, $1.99 a kilo. As you can see, very small, but absolutely perfect. Give it a go, give it a taste. The flavour in itself actually is potentially even better than what you'd normally find in a larger peach.
Oh mate, that's awesome. So here we are with some avocados.
Yep.
And to me, in a supermarket game, this is the sort of avocado that would probably get left behind. But then I look through here and there's some, and they're perfect. So can you explain this?
Correct. So yep, exactly like what you said. This is the product that doesn't normally make the supermarket shelf. This here will go off into other areas, potentially some of it could go into landfill. But right now what we've said is no, we're going to allow the imperfections to come through because inside that fruit, it is just identical to the other product without markings. And as you can see, the shape, the colour, is still fine.
Yeah.
If we go through and have another look, just some slight marking, you cut around that, it's only on the skin, you don't eat the skin. What we're trying to do is educate the customer that just because it doesn't look perfect, doesn't mean that it isn't perfect.
So as you can see, we've had a bit of a wrap up of what we're doing here and the new concept for Drake's at the fruit shed here at Seaford. Tim, any last thoughts about the fruit shed and what do we expect to see from the fruit shed moving forward?
This is a new concept here for South Australia. It has been really well received by all the customers. Hopefully we'll be able to change your mind that, something that has a couple of cosmetic imperfections is actually still perfect.
So we all like fruit and veg that looks A grade and tastes A grade, but the reality is sometimes you just can't have it all looking A grade. But there's no doubt the taste is still there. In fact, some of the smaller produce actually tastes a lot better than the bigger produce. It helps our farmers out and helps our sustainability out. So I've heard of a lot of new terms out there, but this one I'm pretty sure has come from America, root to shoot. A little bit different meaning in Australia. Basically what it's saying is using the whole product. So if you've got some garlic and you've used the garlic, then whatever you've got left, you grind up and turn into garlic powder. Genius. This is really going into a focus of plant-based products, whether you're grounding down things into powder or you're just simply using the whole product for a stock or a different flavour that you're trying to get. Great idea. I don't know how many people have got the time to use the actual whole process. One of the processes took 15 minutes to get the product down to a powder. I don't know if everyone's going to be into that, but I'm sure it's going to have a craze and it's going to have a following of many people that are going to like to be root to shoot. So I hope you've enjoyed episode 1 of the retail wrap. Technically, retail takes up the whole ecosystem, so we're happy to talk about anything. Leave comments below or message us to get us your stories. If you like what you've seen, make sure you watch it and share it with as many people as you want because we will continue to do these. Hope we see you on the next retail wrap.